Sergeant at Arms, kindly ring the division bell for further 3 minutes.
Well, the senators are about to go into division regarding the Social Protection Bill. This is a bill originating from the National Assembly. The Social Protection Bill number 12 of 2025, a bill that is co-sponsored by the Senate Majority Leader, Honorable Aaron Cheruiyot. This is a bill that is at its second reading stage, and the vote that they will be taking is that the bill be read a second time for it to be able to proceed into the next stage, that is it being considered at the Committee of the Whole. And this is a bill that seeks to reduce poverty and vulnerability and improve the well-being of people by providing assistance, services and programs that build human capital, as well as cushion people against risks and contingencies throughout their life cycles. The bill provides for the establishment of the National Board for Social Protection. You will recall that there are already a number of programs that are targeting to reduce poverty and vulnerability among the citizenry of Kenya. However, this is a bill that proposes the establishment of a National Board for Social Protection. And in that particular board, their functions and composition will be defined, the powers that they will be possessing, as well as its source of funds. Some of the functions of the board will include advising the Cabinet Secretary on matters relating to social protection, designing and implementing social protection interventions, as well as programs, also providing social assistance and social care to the vulnerable persons in the society, also coordinating social protection interventions, establishing and maintaining a social protection registry, among other mandates, as will be defined within their functions or their powers. The 3-minute division bell has ended. The House has attained the quorum for the vote to be taken. As we can see that the clerk is trying to ascertain whether the number is present. If the number is present, then they will go ahead into the division process. We shall be waiting to be guided by the House, but this is a bill that also touches on the counties and therefore has been forwarded to the Senate for consideration. Debate already took place conclusively or comprehensively on the floor of the House. So the voting is for it to be read a second time and move into the next stage. The next stage, that is where, in case the members have any amendments into the bill, then they will be able to consider those amendments, proposals, and then they will also be shared back to the National Assembly for consideration. So we shall be waiting to see if the quorum is present for the division to take place. Then that would, without any further delay, continue. This is a bill that provides for the administration of social protection benefits as well. And it also outlines the categories of persons who may be granted social protection benefits, the types of social protection benefits offered under the Act, the eligibility criteria, as well as the procedure for applying for the benefits. It also provides for the reviews and appeals against the decisions of the board, the rights and obligations of beneficiaries, the consequences of abusing social protection benefits, and the circumstances under which social protection benefits may be terminated or refunds made to the board. Also provides for the review of social protection benefits, the indexation of social protection benefits, and the establishment of a social protection registry. This is a bill that is on the floor of the Senate, a bill that seeks to reduce the poverty and vulnerability of persons in the society and improve their well-being by providing assistance, services and programs that build human capital and cushion people against risks and contingencies throughout their life cycle. There are already programs. However, in this particular bill, there is a proposal for the establishment of a national board for social protection. It will be defining the mandate that the board will be taking, its composition, and the powers and the sources of funds as well, so that as they carry out the mandate that is bestowed on them, then accountability and transparency shall be adhered to regarding that. The bill also provides for offences, and in the offences created under the bill, this bill include the prohibition of obstructions, the prohibition of persons from giving false information, as well as unlawful disclosure of information. All right, let's listen in.
For order number 9, we will move to order number 10, and thereafter maybe come back to order number 9. Clerk, proceed to call that order.
Order number 10, Committee of the Whole, the Conflict of Interest Bill, National Assembly Bills number 12 of 2023, consideration of His Excellency the President's recommendations.
Honorable Senators, it's good to be attentive. Senator Shakila.
Honourable Senators, we are in the Committee of the Whole, the Conflict of Interest Bill, National Assembly Bills number 12 of 2023. President's recommendation on clause 2, Clerk.
President's recommendation on clause 2.
I propose the question that the President's recommendation on clause 2 be approved. Chairperson Jelak.
Thank you, Honorable Chairman. I wish to move that the recommendation is approved as provided for in the order paper. And generally, Mr. Chairman, this is as regards what we term as undeclared assets, which has ably been run through in the order paper.
I put the question that the President's recommendation on clause 2 be approved. Division at the end.
President's recommendation on clause 5.
Senator Cherargei, I've already put the question. Cherargei, I've already put the question. It is allowed, Cherargei, but you should have. Senator Cherargei, can you make your sentiments known in the next, when I put the question on the next clause? Yes.
President's recommendation on clause 5.
I propose the question that the President's recommendation on clause 5 be approved. Chairperson.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the President's recommendation be approved as proposed. And specifically, Mr. Chairman, this is a definition as regards the reporting authority. And the committee indeed did approve that the reporting authority be deleted so that we retain that it is only one that the law provides, that is the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission.
Senator Cherargei.
Mr. Speaker, on these clauses, on the clause, can the mover sit? Mr. Speaker, can the mover sit as I speak? Is violating standing orders where you cannot see me. So, Speaker, mine is a comment on the issue of affinity. You know the definition of affinity. I have seen that relative means a person who is related to a public officer by birth, marriage, adoption, or affinity. Mr. Speaker, I think we should drop the word affinity because the definition of affinity in English language, the Oxford Dictionary, means the liking of a person. So does it mean if I've been your friend for some time and I have close affinity, then it is defined as a relative? Mr. Speaker, I find it would have been consanguinity affinity, as in closeness by blood, as my learned colleagues would define, Mr. Speaker. So I think on this memorandum, it should only stop at adoption, because the moment you add affinity, it changes meaning. It means somebody you are affinity to as a friend, be it a male or a female, or somebody you banter with, or somebody you work with. So, Mr. Speaker, I think this one is on the issue of ethics report. I think that definition should be ethics and anti-corruption. If the definition comes out as ethics only, then we can equate to the Ethics Commission, but it should be Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. So on the issue of affinity, Mr. Speaker, and then, Mr. Speaker, on the issue of undeclared asset, the manner that has been proposed, Mr. Speaker, let me reserve those to clause number 6 so that I can make that comment at that point. So on this issue of affinity, we must drop it, Mr. Speaker, because it is unfair. It will, Mr. Speaker, in fact, in conclusion, it will undermine freedom of association as provided by the Constitution. Because affinity allows friendships. It allows acquaintances, Mr. Speaker. So if you say we cannot, if a public officer is found to have committed an economic crime, Mr. Speaker, it means those people close to him, associates, which is not properly defined by law, can run into problems, therefore undermining the principle and the freedom of association as per the Constitution. So in it is a nullity, so speak. Is a nullity. And I hope the chairperson of JLAC is listening this keenly. It is dangerous because the moment we come for you, God forbid, for Senator Haji over an economic crime, it means friends like Cherargei can be in trouble. So Speaker, we must drop this for the interest and for not undermining freedom of association within the setup. And we also, you know, families, Mr. Speaker, are so huge in African setup. In fact, I have many cousins that the last time I saw them was years and years. So, Mr. Speaker, that is only my worry. On the issue of undeclared assets, I will come back on clause number 6. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the indulgence.
Senator Mungatana.
Thank you. Is it on? Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I am very alive to the fact that overriding a presidential memorandum is an uphill task as per the Constitution, but we must go on record so that maybe if matters go to court, the intention of the legislature can be interpreted from the record by the lawyers who will be there. And the worry here about the affinity definition, it is so wide, so that a person who wants to enforce, and here I'm looking at the EACC, they are the enforcing authority. If they are going to define relative to mean a person who is related to the public officer by birth, by marriage, adoption, or affinity. Mr. Speaker, when you look at the first three, there is no discussion about it. But when you come to the fourth one, affinity, it is so loose that somebody can actually use that to harm people or to just destroy somebody. It means that when they're enforcing anything against a public officer, they can go for any person, really any person, whom they think they have some form of affinity or association. This means every friend that you stay with, every person you play basketball with, any person you go to church with, even your church members, even every place, literally, the members of your social welfare group. Mr. Speaker, I think this word, there's a problem here, and the intention cannot be to expose people to this extent, and it's obviously in conflict with the freedom of association article in the Constitution, which means even if it passes here, somebody should pick it, and we go and remove this word through the courts, because this is wrong. I don't know what the thinking was here. I submit, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Osotsi.
Mr. Speaker, just like Senator Mungatana said, actually overriding a presidential referral is an uphill task, because it requires 2/3 members of this House to change that. But I think it should go on record that there is an ambiguity in this definition for a relative, particularly the word affinity. What is affinity? It's ambiguous. Mr. Speaker, you can have an affinity to many, even in this House. between you and me, we have some affinity because we are senators. So if I commit a crime, you will be arrested, Mr. Speaker, because of me. I think this word will be used for political persecution. Because, for example, we are in political parties. We are put in that political party through some affinity. So if I commit a crime, or my party leader or my deputy party leader or my SG, they will come for me. So, Mr. Speaker, we must clearly indicate that as legislators, we have a problem with this word affinity. And I know at this point we can't do much about it because we need 2/3 of members of this House to override that. But it must go on record that this House was uncomfortable with the definition of the word relative. And Mr. Speaker, this foreign legislation, which are forced on us, is what is creating problems in this country. Even now, we are talking about Gen Zs and all that, too much freedom. It's because we adopted a constitution that this country was not ready for. And that's why we're having problems. This piece of legislation, Mr. Speaker, is going to cause problems in this country. Because it is going to be used for political persecution, is going to be used to intimidate people. Today I will be in government, tomorrow I'm not in government. They will come for me, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to register my disapproval of the definition of the word relative. And it should go on record that on this particular day, this House, members of this House were in agreement that this definition is vague and something has to be done. Even if the bill is passed, we must amend it to make it, remove that ambiguity, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I don't support that definition.
Senator Esther Okinyuri.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also wish to join my colleagues to express displeasure, especially in the definitions, lack of clear definitions, especially for family, relative, and affinity. Because, Mr. Speaker, in as much as we want to curb loopholes in the public sector, if you do not clearly state whom you're targeting here, we might end up exposing even people who are very innocent, so long as they associate with us to this proposal, Chair. So I feel as a Senate, we need to keenly look at this, either by providing an alternative way of defining who is family to you, who is a relative, and affinity, who are these who are close to you that we want to target, Chair. So if we don't clearly define those three, we might actually expose very innocent people to some of the issues we are trying to curb, Chair. Thank you.
Senator Mandago.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, I want to join my colleagues on this matter of definition of affinity and the general definition of a relative and family, Honorable Speaker, Chair. The definition of family here, the spouse, dependent child or parent of a public officer, a dependent child of the spouse of a public officer, or a parent of the spouse of a public officer. Relative means a person who is related to a public officer by birth, marriage, adoption, or affinity. Chair, even relationship by birth should even be made very clear. Because in the African context of relationship by birth, my cousin brother, whose father is brother to my father, in the African context, is defined as being people related on one bloodline. Chair, I really don't understand what this bill wants to address. Just as Senator Cherargei said, we have so many relatives who we are even related by blood, but we don't know what they do for their everyday living. Is this bill telling us then that we as public officers should declare all our relatives, and the government should meet their daily subsistence needs, because as soon as this bill passes, or this memorandum passes, it means those people might end up stopping what they have been doing for their daily livelihood, and they will be then dependent on the public officer. Is the government ready to provide subsistence? This thing of affinity, Chair, should actually be deleted. And we should even give a new definition. It should actually stop at an adopted, where we have adoption. This affinity is so wide that it will be open to abuse, Chair. And because some of these institutions, we cannot say they are immune to being politically weaponized, we should make our definitions very accurate. I have a problem also on the undeclared assets means and any asset that is not disclosed in the prescribed manner. Chair, if I've declared an asset and probably in the sentences I've missed one or two letters or missed this, if you go down in that bill, it means that this asset should be forfeited. I think the law should be providing an opportunity for further details, for further inquiry. But for you to just say that because you missed, probably maybe you missed, you are declaring your land and you have said block 13/1671 instead of /1617, then you forfeit that asset because you have not declared it in a prescribed manner. Chair, that will be a problem. We cannot and we should not allow this house to be used by financial institutions that want to make it difficult for Kenyans to do business, that wants to make it difficult for the economy of this country to grow so that we continue borrowing from them by passing legislations and amendments such as this, Chair. So I wanted to go on record on that, that we need as a house to look at that definition and leave the word affinity, and even the undeclared assets, what means any asset that is not disclosed, Chair, that should be dropped completely. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Senators, yes, I see that there is a lot of interest in making comments on this clause. I'm afraid that we might, because after 5 senators have spoken, it will just be repetition. Can we go to the next clause and then we give you an opportunity? Are you going to repeat anything that has already been said? Senator Ojenda?
Chair, I know, and yes, I know that some of these amendments are extraneously driven, and the intention as expressed by Senator Mandago is we'll have the result of stifling business, stifling development, and I want senators to open their eyes. The public officers in question, Chair, are not senators or members of parliament. Contemplate a public officer as a chief or a primary school teacher with many relatives in the village. And that public officer, Chair, is supplying maize to a school or to a government office in the village. Now, Chair, most Africans do not even know who their relatives are, because we have extended relatives. So that definition is problematic because at times we cannot even define who our relatives are. And then lastly, I just want to, this is with a perspective, agree with Mandago. On the undisclosed assets or unnamed assets, either by error, perhaps negligence, or out of lack of valuation, you will lose an asset. Yeah, this is a serious thing. Senator Osot's concern is about the threshold, but we have a problem here, Chair. The only way to make sure this does not pass is by denying ML quorum and walking out. Then now this will not pass.
Senator Professor Odinga, I was really looking forward to your ingenious submission, which I actually missed. Senator Abbas, I hope you are not going to repeat what has already been said.
No, I'm not going to say that. Honorable Speaker, I think by nature nobody commits offense as proxy on behalf of somebody else, unless it's something somebody hired or these things. But in terms of, we have all our adults, and they carry their own crosses. So whatever your brother who don't even know where he is, maybe he could be in the other world of the world, you could be somewhere else, it commits, then you cannot take responsibility for it, or your relative. So I oppose the amendment.
Senator Ravindu.
Okay. Thank you, Chair. And because I don't want to repeat what others have said, I'll just comment on that. And Chair, I wish, ML, can I borrow the ears of the Chair, please? Chair, I will not repeat what others have said, but this amendment, the way it is, it will cause a lot of problems to many others. And I'll read a scripture in the Bible. In the book of Ezekiel, chapter 18 and verse 20, highlights that the mistakes of a father will never be condemned to a child. So this is not right. Because if anyone does wrong, they should carry their own cross, but not any relative, not any child, not any affiliation, as in the definition of affinity. This is quite wrong. It's not biblical, and it is not good for anyone. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Mohamed Faki.
Mwenyekiti, mimi pia natoa kauli yangu kupinga kipengee hichi kwa sababu Mheshimiwa Mwenyekiti, nilinde na commissioner hapa
na kusikiza
ambaye ni senior counsel na Odinga pia ni senior counsel. Mheshimiwa Speaker anasema kwa kipengee hichi ni kinyume na hata maadili ya Kiafrika. Kwa sababu Kiafrika tunaishi kama jamii moja. Kwa hivyo kwa mfano mimi ni senator, lakini mtoto wangu ameajiriwa na ofisi ya ODPP. Kwa hivyo yeye inawezekana kutokea shida katika ofisi yake, nilaumiwe mimi ambaye ni senator, ambaye niko kivyangu na ninafanya kazi zangu tofauti na yeye. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Speaker, hii sheria yapinga maadili ya Kiafrika na vile vile ni kinyume na katiba, kwa sababu huwezi kumnyonga mtu au kumnyang'anya mali yake bila ya kumpa nafasi ya kujieleza kisheria. Kwa hivyo twapinga kipengee hichi na tuomba kiondolewe mara moja katika hiyo memorandum ambayo rais ameleta kuhusiana na hiyo sheria ya maadili. Asante Mheshimiwa Speaker.
Thank you, Senators. We shall proceed. I put the question that the President's recommendation on Clause 5 be approved, division at the end. Next.
President's recommendation on Clause 6.
I propose the question that the President's recommendation on Clause 6 be approved. Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Chairman. in the course of the committee's consideration of the recommendation or reservations under Clause 6, the committee indeed observed and agreed with the proposals that the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission be given the sole mandate to implement this particular act once it's passed, and the further recommendation that the committee made is in concurrence is that the reservations on this particular clause will need the strengthening of the technical and budgetary capacity and allocation to EACC in order for it to be facilitated to administer and effectively implement the provisions of this particular act. That is the impact of the committee's recommendation on the reservations under Clause 6. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Cherage, will you be commenting on every clause? Okay, then let us also recognize that we are not debating, so you need to be brief. Please keep your comments in less than 3 minutes.
Mr. Chairperson, you know you are not also immune if this comes to law. It will disrupt our daily lives. Speaker, institute proceedings for forfeiture or undeclared or unexplained. Mr. Speaker, this recommendation is very unfortunate. Because, Mr. Speaker, we are aware, either by error or design or default, either by KRA or EACC, when they are doing inventory of your assets, they can leave it unexplained, Mr. Speaker. We are aware of cases where the authority, Mr. Speaker, I wish the two senators, Mr. Speaker, they are blocking you, yet the standing orders is very clear that there should be no one between you and the Speaker. The table office, what is happening? Senior counsel, he just chatted in. He should go and relax and recover from jet lag. So, Speaker, he should institute proceedings from forfeiture of unexplained or unexplained, and is the former chair of EACC, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you should be listening. You should be listening, senior counsel. You know you can be old, but you don't have a brain. Mr. Speaker, what I'm saying, institute proceedings, Mr. Speaker, for forfeiture and unexplained assets. Therefore, the question should be, if it is left out, Mr. Speaker, if it is left out, either by design, these unexplained assets, Mr. Speaker, you might lose your property, Mr. Speaker. So I think this amendment, I go with the proposal by the Committee of JLAC on this particular amendment to this memorandum by His Excellency the President. I rest my case, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Mugeni.
Speaker, the only comment I wanted to make is let's deal with this clause very carefully. I've had the benefit of looking at all the anti-corruption agencies in Africa, including the most successful ones in Rwanda, the one in Botswana, the one in Ghana. You never mix declaration of assets with an anti-corruption commission. There is nowhere in Africa where that role is domiciled in an anti-corruption commission. So as we look at this amendment,